Hey, Elias.
Hey, Maria.
I heard you were here in Madison Square Park finding some dogs, so I figured I'd ask you 21 questions. Do you have some time?
I do, just for you guys.
Amazing. So, tell us a little bit about what you do.
I'm a dog photographer. I started a blog called the Dogist in 2013, and I've photographed about 50,000 dogs since then.
Oh my, 50,000?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Wow. And so what got you started in photography?
Well, I grew up with a darkroom in the house. My dad was like a hobby photographer, and we had a couple dogs, some Labrador retrievers, and they were always like my subjects. So I was always like messing around with cameras. I had a film Nikon camera, and I always loved taking pictures of dogs, and I tried to do other things with my life, but I was in New York. I was let go from my job, and I was like, why don't I just try to like dust off the camera and do Humans of New York for dogs, or the sartorialist for dogs. And lo and behold, people were super interested in that.
That's so cool. And so you kind of answered it, but what was your first camera?
My first camera was a Nikon FG, full manual 35mm DSLR, which was given to me by my dad. And then I had a D700 throughout college, and then I moved to a D6, and then a D5, and now I've got mirrorless, the Z6.
Wow, you've really gone through the whole evolution.
Yeah.
And what's your go-to lens?
My go-to is probably this 35mm, but I have got the whole array, zooms and primes, and just got the 51.2, which is nice, and I like the 85, and it just sort of depends on the mood and what I've been shooting. I like to mix it up, and yeah.
Why dogs? And I know the obvious answer is why not dogs? But what drew you to them as a project, as a subject? Who was your first subject?
My first subject was probably my dog Ruby, but if you fast forward to the Dogist, I think it really comes, there was like a French bulldog in Williamsburg, and it wasn't like officially started, but when the guy was like, oh, what's this for? I was like, the Dogist. So I guess that's technically the first dog. Although really the first dog ever posted was a bulldog that I met in Vienna, Austria. I don't know its name, but that was the basis for our logo, which is right here. Sort of like an every dog, like a dog that represents all dogs. But why dogs? They're just the best subjects, I think. When you photograph people, they're trying to look a certain way. It's like, oh, they're smiling, or they're trying to, portray something to the audience. Whereas dogs, like, they don't understand the concept of like, how do I look? So you can get really creative with dog photography. With the super wide, you can make them all distorted. They're not going to ask like, hey, could I see that picture? Does my nose look big? They're just very entertaining, and they have the same emotions that we do. So you can see that very clearly on their face, whether they're scared, or they're curious, or they're happy, or they're whatever.
Yeah, that's so true. I think we're going to get more dog photographers from humans. They're going to be like, you know what, you're right. Let's go to dogs.
Well, everyone is kind of a dog photographer. Like if you look at people's camera rolls, like there's definitely dogs in there. But very few are like running around like me. Like I'm not wearing my knee pads now, but just sort of like stopping people on the street and like really taking it to the next level. I don't know. I feel like more people should do it because it's super fun.
And so you've grown the Dogist to over 4 million followers on Instagram. Did you ever think that you'd grow so much just from photographing on the street?
I think I did have that realization. From day one, I was like, there's no way people are not going to like this project. Everyone walks around and they are so curious about other people's dogs. So I was like, I'm going to be the person to bridge that gap and tell that story. And it was also, sort of a good time on Instagram to start a project. This is 2013. So it's harder to like, if I were to start today, it would be harder to like reach that 4 million follower thing. But there's plenty of opportunity on all other social medias as well.
And so I saw on your YouTube channel, you've been doing a series called Talking Dogs. Tell me about the series.
Yeah, so that's our podcast.
Okay.
And my team and I discuss dogs, and we have guests on the show that are like dog experts and from all different walks of life. and it just gives us a chance to like express ourselves, and for the audience to get to know us a little better and to learn something about dogs that they might not otherwise have known.
That's awesome. And so I'm so curious, it's so hard to capture just one dog. How do you manage getting 2 or more dogs not only looking at you, but also all in focus?
Definitely. So you're right, it's hard to capture one dog. And with each consecutive dog thereafter, it becomes exponentially more difficult. So really the key in my mind is to get them all butt to butt as best you can. And then if you have the squeaky ball, or you're gonna make a weird noise like or bark or something, then really it's that first frame when they're all kind of like look over, that's like your best shot. Because from there on, like then they start to drift off. I photograph like big packs of dogs, and it's really about getting them all in the same direction and looking, and then you kind of pause and you make a weird noise, one that you haven't made before, and just so that you get the best chance of getting that attention from all the dogs at once.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so I saw you recently shot all the dogs during NYC's Pride Parade.
Yeah.
Was this just love overload all around?
Yeah, I mean, I love shooting New York's Pride Parade. You know, it's like such a joyous occasion, and everyone, you know, the dogs are having fun too, and they're usually dressed up in some pride, you know, rainbow, and it's just a fun thing to do and a great thing to highlight.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so what's next for the Dogist? More video?
Definitely, we're very excited about Reels, and video allows you to have audio and music, and audio, as you know, is like very emotional. Like you can hear their voice, you hear them telling a story, the way they say it adds a layer of like fun texture to a story. And you get to see my process too, a little behind the scenes, and it's just sort of an extra layer where still photography is great for like, I can make books out of that, and I can still post that, and you know, like the NFT stuff, all that stuff. It's great for stills, and I think with Instagram, Reels, and TikTok, like people really want that sort of video with audio and music is really the thing.
Sure. Okay, switching it up a little bit, what are some tips for someone who wants to get crisp, sharp images of their dogs the way you do?
Crisp, sharp images. So you want a camera that has fast autofocus, and you want to get good at pointing that little focus point right on their eyes. And the other thing is take a lot of bad pictures. It's a little bit of a spray and pray, as they say. This is rhyme. And so you're taking a lot of pictures of the dog, and your dog might be moving around. It's sort of like a dynamic portrait, because when you ask a person to pose, they're like, okay, but with a dog, you kind of have to take a lot of frames, and hopefully they sit. But if you really want to stop down and get that shallow depth of field, you got to get that stillness. Yeah, have fun with it.
Perfect. Serious question. Are you a dog whisperer?
Am I a dog whisperer? I would say at this point I am. 9 years into this, I am a dog whisperer, certified. I mean, I think that what I'm good at is getting their attention and knowing dog body language and psychology. So I'm good at sort of, as a stranger, approaching them, being like, hey, look at me. And he's like, okay. And I have treats too, which helps.
Yeah, that always helps.
So, but yeah, dog whisperer.
And I know they're all your favorite, but do you have a favorite image you've shot?
Do I have a favorite image I've shot? I have lots of favorite images. The one I'm thinking of right now was this giant golden retriever meetup in Scotland, where there are 360 golden retrievers in a field. It was like the origin place of the golden retriever. That was a special one, with the most dogs I've ever photographed in one frame. But I don't know, it seems like every week there's a dog that really speaks to me, and there's like a story that's moving, and all dogs deserve recognition.
Yeah, it's awesome. Most interesting dog you've ever shot?
Most interesting dog I've ever shot. I don't know, there's some cool rare breeds. There's this dog Lola that walks around in Central Park that's a Bergamasco shepherd that has cords. It's a very strange thing to witness, and you don't know whether you're going the front or the back of the dog. You have to like watch the way it's moving.
Most famous dog you've ever shot?
Most famous dog, that would be President Biden's dog,
Whoa.
Commander. I had the privilege of going to the White House a few weeks ago and having a 15-minute session with the president and the first dog.
Wow.
That was pretty epic.
That really is epic.
Uh-huh.
And you've traveled a lot now photographing dogs from all over. What project has been the coolest?
Coolest traveling project? Well, I just went on a 4-month road trip with my fiance, and we got dogs from all across the country. There's a lot of trips I've been on.
That's awesome. Do you have a dog?
I do have a dog.
I guess you have to, right?
Well, I didn't have to because I had all the dogs for years, and I didn't have my own dog. That was like the little secret. But during the pandemic, I got a dog. Her name is Elsa. She's like a husky mix. She's a husky mix, and she's from Texas, and she's the best. Yeah, she's great.
If you weren't a photographer, what would you be?
If I weren't a photographer, you know, the likelihood is I'd have a normal job. Like I was in brand strategy before, so I'd probably be working at an agency, but dog photographer was definitely a dream job growing up. So if I weren't a dog photographer, I would be a tennis player professionally.
Wow.
I don't know, I'm not that good, but that was a dream. I think it was always going to be a dog photographer.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice, I would say, focus on execution. Everyone's got great ideas, but until you actually like move your feet and, you know, screw up and try it and fail and get some things right, then you're not really doing anything. So you got to do that.
That's great advice.
You got to do it.
Aside from your camera and lens, what's your favorite piece of gear?
My favorite piece of gear, besides the camera, are my pants. These things, I wear these every day. They have squeaky ball, dog treats, business cards. So I'm very particular about my business cards as well. These are special.
You're single-handedly going to bring cargo pants back.
Oh yeah, these are by 511 brand. I'm surprised you can't have them at B&H because they're like perfect. Every time photographers see me, they're like, "What pants are those?"
Oh my God.
And yeah, it's just like perfect. I got lens wipes in the back and trash in this side.
If there were to be a movie about your life, who would play you?
Oh my God, it's a good question. Probably Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay. I see the resemblance. I see it.
That or Danny DeVito. No, I don't know. I don't know. Do I have a celebrity look-alike? Who would be me? Who do you think who do you think they should cast to play me in my movie?
Let us know in the comments.
Let us know.
And last question, who should we interview next?
I would say if you haven't gotten New York Nico,
Okay.
check him out. I've never met him, but he seems like a cool guy. I want to know more about him, so you should.
Okay. I mean, we'll interview him and I'll bring you along so you can
There
get
you
to
go.
know him
Get
too.
me in. That'd be great.
Cool. Well, I'll let you get back to it and find some more dogs.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.